All right, welcome to Tapping into Love. Thank you for being here, Radiance in person, and those of you who are going to be watching this recording. I am excited to share with you some more self-love. We're tapping into love, but this month of February, we're celebrating love, whether it's Valentine's Day or for those of you who don't know, February 13th was International Self-Love Day, and this day has been celebrated all around the world now for the last 10 years. And I'm really excited to share with you some of the technology tools I've been learning about self-love. Tapping is definitely my go-to, where I'm totally embracing myself and my negative thinking, and it's been a fabulous tool for me. And in the world of self-love, I have been training with a teacher named Christina Rilo, who is known as the Queen of Self-Love. And 10 years ago, she quit her corporate job and committed herself to self-love. And at the time, it was definitely a radical move because self-love at the time, a lot of people associated self-love with narcissism and selfishness. And so it was pretty radical for her to make a shift. And now she has been doing this work for over 10 years and has created a school called The Path of Self-Love. And just on the 13th, they launched their new website, which is called thepathofselflove.org. So I invite you to go over there sometime after this call. Again, that's thepathofselflove.org. And it's just a fabulous resource. Christine has written a few different books. One book is called Madly in Love with Me, and some of you may know I've talked a lot about the tree of self-love, which looks like this. And we're not going to go into this today, but I encourage you to look at this more in depth, and it's on her website at pathofselflove.org, and it's also on my website, findthestarwithin.com, and I actually have some videos on each of the branches of self-love. So I encourage you to go to that website and pick a branch to grow this year, because we definitely need self-acceptance, self-awareness, self-care, self-trust, self-esteem, self-compassion and forgiveness, self-empowerment, self-expression, self-honor and respect, self-pleasure, and also self-worth, the base of the tree. So just to start us off, I'm going to give you a little bit of a definition of self-love, because some of us get confused. What the heck is self-love? And it's kind of simple, because if you think about, when we talk about love and directing my love towards another, nobody has any complaints with it. And the only difference is we're directing this love towards ourself. So self-love is directed to ourself. But in the dictionary, it is defined as conceit, vanity, narcissism. And narcissists actually lack self-love. So the good news is, if you're not already a narcissist, you're not likely to become one. And self-love is the unconditional love and respect that you have for yourself that is so unwavering that you only choose loving, respectful situations and relationships, including the one you have for yourself. So self-love is a path, it's a practice, and a choice that you make every day in your relationships, your work, your health, your wealth, your home, everything. So we're going to explore this concept of self-love today in a really beautiful, special way. This year for the Path of Self-Love, we have come up with the theme. The theme is called Staying Strong in Self-Love. And that's what we're going to explore today in our tapping. And this word strong, it's an acronym. And it stands for 6 different things. And we're going to go over them. And we're going to do some tapping on them to make sure that we are growing these aspects of ourselves. So I'm just going to go over what the acronym stands for, and you can write this down if you want. So the theme, again, is staying strong in self-love. And the S stands for speaking your truth and staying connected. So you're welcome just to write that down. S, speaking your truth and staying connected. And I'm going to go through all of them, and then I'm going to ask you some questions on each of them. The next one is T, trusting yourself. The R stands for resting and replenishing. So we've got T for trusting yourself and R for resting and replenishing. And then O, owning your power and playing your part. Owning your power and playing your part. And then N, nourishing your heart and your soul's desires. That's nourishing your heart and soul's desires. And the G in strong stands for give and receive. So I'll go over those again if you didn't get it all written down. But what I'd like to ask you to think about right now is we're going to focus on the first one, speaking your truth and staying connected. And this is really related to the branch of self-expression on the self-love tree. And so what I want to have you do right now is focus in on what keeps you from doing this. So just taking a moment and pausing and asking yourself, reflecting, what keeps me from speaking my truth and staying connected? And you can just ponder that. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this into tapping. We're going to tap on the things, the blocks that we have towards speaking our truth and staying connected. So Radiance, since you're here with me live, would you be willing to share what are some of the things that come up for you, some of the things that keep you from speaking your truth and staying connected?
I closed my eyes and I got in touch with what comes up for me is I go into the state of fear, anxiety, and loss. It's fear of losing. If I speak my truth, that the person might reject me or not approve of me, or I might not get my needs met. So then I shut down, I contract, I withdraw, and I go into this recurring pattern I have in my life when things come up for me that I'm not sure of the outcome, or I'm not sure if I'm going to get my needs met, or having a reaction to a situation, external situation. I have this like sinking feeling of loss, which is something I've been working on to let go of. I'm able to figure out how to get out of loss and move into gain, so that I'm not like I'm losing something in the moment, losing love, losing friendship, losing, whatever.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for acknowledging that. And as you know, that's the first step towards healing. That's the first step in our tapping, is that we have to acknowledge and become aware of what our issue is or what the problem is. So in relationship to speaking our truth and staying connected. What you've just done is you just become aware of the feelings inside of you that prevent you from doing that. And I'm sure you can own that you'd like to stay connected and speak your truth. That's a great goal. That's a great aspiration. It's something that you'd like to anchor in, right?
Yes, yes. There's some kind of disconnect. I don't know what it is. It's the fear.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Comes in.
Right. So that's what we're going to do with our tapping. We're going to start on the S in the strong, and we're going to do, it's going to be call and response. You're going to follow me and tap on the points that I do. Let me just review the points with you, and for those watching the recording, because I don't think we've tapped in a little while, I'm just going to review. So we're going to start on the karate chop, and the points are between the wrist knuckle and the pointer, the knuckle on the baby finger here on the side. Like if you were going to chop some wood, you can either take both karate chop to each other, or you can tap your fingers on the flesh there on the side. Yeah, so we're going to start there. So like that. You bring your pinky fingers together, yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna, yeah, that's it, great. And then we're gonna use our peace fingers, gonna tap right the beginning of the eyebrows here, just tapping lightly so you see the points going to the outside of the eye, right on the bone. That looks good. Going underneath the pupils, right on the bones there. Under the nose and chin. Yeah, looks good. On the collarbone. Right here. We'll go under the arm on the side of your body, just 4 inches down. Yep, you can do 2 hands at once. And then we'll bring the wrists together. The wrists together there, and then ending on the top of the head. Okay, great. So it looks like we've got the points. So we're going to start in radiance. You can just repeat after me. So even though I want to speak the truth and stay connected, sometimes fear gets in my way.
Even though I want to speak the truth and stay connected, fear sometimes gets in my way.
So even though there are some blocks for me speaking my truth,
even though there are some blocks for me speaking my truth,
it's okay. I'm accepting all the feelings that are coming up right now about it.
it's okay. I'm accepting all the feelings that are coming up about it right now. It's okay.
So even though I have some blocks to speaking my truth, I love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I have some blocks to speaking my truth, I totally love and accept myself anyway.
Okay. And now we're going to tap through the points, and we're just going to tell the truth about some of these, about our fears. So just tapping on the points. All the fear that comes up.
All the fear that comes up.
This fear of losing.
This fear of losing.
I'm just acknowledging the truth.
I'm just acknowledging the truth.
I'm afraid of being rejected.
I'm afraid of being rejected.
I'm afraid people won't approve of me.
I'm afraid people won't approve of me.
This reoccurring pattern.
This reoccurring pattern.
I get shut down.
I get shut down.
I feel contracted.
I feel contracted.
I'm not sure my needs will get met.
I'm not sure my needs will get met.
All that's coming up for me.
All that's coming up for me
around wanting to speak my truth
about wanting to speak my truth
and staying connected.
and staying connected.
There's something inside me
There's something inside me
that stops me.
that stopped me.
I get this sinking feeling.
I get this sinking feeling.
It reminds me of losses in the past.
It reminds me of losses in the past.
I just shut down.
I just shut down.
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid.
Maybe it's my past programming.
Maybe it's my past programming.
Maybe it's my inner mean girl
Maybe it's my inner mean girl
or my judge
or my judge
or my critic.
or my critic.
But all I know
All I know,
is I get to feeling insecure.
I get to feeling insecure.
I'm afraid I won't be safe.
I'm afraid I won't be safe.
Or maybe there'll be consequences.
Or maybe there'll be consequences.
All this anxiety,
All this anxiety,
all this fear,
all this fear,
all this loss.
all this loss.
I'm doing my best
I'm doing my best
right now
right now
to tell the truth
to tell the truth
and to stay connected.
and to stay connected.
I'm doing a great job.
I'm doing a great job.
I'm facing this fear.
I'm facing this fear.
I'm speaking my truth right now.
I'm speaking my truth right now.
And I'm doing my best to stay connected.
And I'm doing my best to stay connected.
All that's coming up for me,
All that's coming up for me,
it's okay.
it's okay.
It's safe for me to feel this now.
It's safe for me to feel this now.
What I really want
What I really want
is to release this old pattern,
is to release this old habit,
is to release the fear,
to release the fear,
is to release my reaction,
is to release my reaction,
this contraction,
this contraction,
feeling shut down,
feeling shut down,
thinking that my needs aren't going to be met.
thinking that my needs are not going to be met.
This old sinking feeling
This old sinking feeling
that's in my body.
that's in my body.
What if I could release it?
What if I could release that?
What if I could change my thinking?
What if I could change my thinking?
What if I could transform this now?
What if I could transform this now?
What if I could speak my truth
What if I could speak my truth
and stay connected?
and stay connected?
All right, so just take a pause and just really allow that into your body. Take a couple breaths and even drink some water. Yeah, and just notice what you notice and tune into the feelings because you have a specific feeling inside your body. I don't know if I gave you time enough to really to focus in it. But now that we've done a couple rounds of tapping, I just want you to kind of notice what's coming up for you.
I'm
And
feeling a little more balanced.
you're feeling more balanced. Great. Okay. And when you think about that the challenge or the goal or the idea of speaking your truth and staying connected, what would you say your attitude is towards that right now?
Let's see, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Yeah.
I think I can pretty much stay between 6 and 9, and more like 8, you know.
Okay, so 10 is like you're able to speak your truth and stay connected, and 0 is you can't at all, and where you
Yes.
are right now is fluctuating between a 6 and 9.
Yes.
Right. And it must really depend on the situation. So maybe right here, right now, you feel a relative ease or safety. Is that true?
Yes, I do. And I have to say, I'm a pretty outspoken person.
Yeah.
So I have to sort of tone it down because of my outspokenness without discernment. I don't know how else to put it. I have offended, I think, that I can easily offend people. So I have to sort of review what I'm going to say to somebody first to make sure that there's no offensive words, and I'm using NVC. And so it doesn't come off that I'm judging or criticizing them. So I have to retranslate everything before I blurt it out because I'm way too outspoken. So there is a thing about speaking the truth, but speaking your truth with love and kindness is versus speaking your truth with judgment and criticism.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
So I have to choose the love and kindness over the judgment and criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a discernment there. I just can't speak my truth like.
Yeah, and so you have a choice and you have a choice, and yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that's the place that we want to get to is, to allow ourselves and to consciously, use the words that come out of our mouth with that intention of love and connection. And so you really, really do have a choice. So I think what I'd like to do is, I love how you how you kind of differentiated between the choice of speaking from judgment and criticism to speaking with love and compassion. And I think that's a beautiful choice. And the tapping, one thing that you can do is in the future when you find yourself, maybe some things came out of your mouth that weren't as loving as you want, then you can use the tapping afterwards just to have some compassion for yourself. Obviously we're perfecting our ability to love and our communication. And so the tapping becomes a great tool for, when we mess up. We don't want to create more stress and burden in our body. So I just want to encourage you to have that theme, to have that intention to speak your truth and stay connected. And for you, it's really in the lines of speaking with love. And for me, my personal thing is I can be really critical of myself. So I have to speak with love and kindness to myself. I'm pretty good with others, but not so great within my own dialogue. So it's just something for you to notice. Yeah.
Do you have any insights, Shakti, on, for myself personally? I have found that I am highly critical and judgmental of others. And I don't know where it comes from because I don't think my parents were like that. So I've examined, where does that critical judge come from?
Critical judge of others.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, I think it's like a certain programming that we have. I have what I call my comparison queen, who is either comparing myself as better than or less than others. And what I'm learning to do is to use it to feel inspired by others. But there's a phrase that I often use that's helped me about if you spot it, you got it. So if I'm seeing negative stuff in other judgments or criticisms, in other people, what I've been doing as a practice is to own it, to see, if something irritates me about somebody else, then what I do as a practice is I see where I might be guilty of the same thing. Because if it annoys me, it's because it's inside of me. So I take it as kind of a spiritual practice that when I am, and to have compassion for myself, to notice when I am judging others or judging myself, but to take it into, okay, well, what is it about this that is also inside myself? So that's kind of what I use. Does that help you?
Yeah, that's pretty confrontational. That you have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
I understand that it's not as much fun as thinking you're better than somebody else. But the other thing that came through is that I have really high standards for myself and people. And when they don't meet my standards, I get very judgmental and critical. Is there any validity to that? Or is that some way of, I'm trying to put it in this right perspective. If I have a standard or an ideal for myself and others and they don't meet it, and I become critical and judgmental.
Yeah. Well, that's a hard place. It's good, once again, that you're recognizing this pattern for yourselves. And it may be that your expectations are too high for others. I have something that I say to myself is that, I can't control what others do, think, feel. And so I can imagine that it might create a lot of stress for you if you have an expectation and people don't meet it. So for you, it might be better to either lower your expectations, but to create the expectations on something that you can do. So for me, I can control my own thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. But for me, focusing on what others are going to do or not do is kind of a waste of my energy. But if you focus on how you're going to respond, loving and compassionately, then that puts you in the driver's seat. Then you have choice. So, and I mean, a lot of people also have too high expectations for their own selves. And then, because they're trying to achieve something, and then they, I don't know if you find this with yourself. Are you hard on yourself, or are you really just harder on other people? We call it the inner bully, towards ourselves, but maybe for some reason you've been learned to take that out on others. There's what do we call it? We call it lashing out. It's kind of a toxic behavior that some of us have. And generally these behaviors, whether it's, making myself less than or making myself better than or lashing out at other people, it's a coping mechanism, right? It's a defense mechanism, because probably on some level, all you want to be safe. Makes sense?
Yeah. Identifying that it is an immature behavior, and it's coming from my childhood. I think it's a reaction to keep myself safe.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. So if I can say it's outside of myself and it's not me, then maybe I can disassociate, which is more or less how I got through my childhood, by disassociating. So I can see it's really tricky. So in that moment, when you're recognizing that you're judging others because your expectations are not being met, I guess.
Yeah, I would just offer. Let me lead you in a round of tapping, just to show you how you might might use this. So what you've identified from this that we've already done is you've identified a pattern that you have of judging others, and it sounds like it's something that you that's triggering your little girl inside of you. That's what I'm hearing. So just follow me for a round, and we'll go into that. So even though I have this pattern of judging others, I forgive myself. And I'm giving myself compassion right now. So even though I have this old pattern of having really high expectations for others, I must have learned this as a little girl. I'm open to healing this now. So even though I do judge others, and sometimes I come from criticism, I love and accept myself anyway. And I'm sending healing to all parts of myself. My little girl, she just wants to feel safe. She learned this as a coping mechanism. My little girl just wants to be safe. All that's coming up for me around criticizing others, judging others, lashing out at them. I don't want to be like that. I want to be loving. I want to be compassionate. And right now, I'm letting my little girl know that she's safe. I'm here to protect her. She deserves love. She deserves kindness. And even though she didn't receive it, I'm giving it to her now. And I'm letting her know that she can speak her truth and stay connected. I'm giving her love now. I'm tapping into love. Okay, so just take a pause. How does that feel for you, Radiance?
Well, while I was doing the tapping, I was getting into a deeper layer of feeling about what was going on. Why was I doing this? And I realized that the inner child had certain expectations, and she was really disappointed because the person didn't meet the expectations. So her way of coping with that was to judge them and put them down, and say they're not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a deeper layer for me to feel that. It was my way of letting go of the disappointment of wanting something from somebody and not getting it.
Right. Yeah. So it seems like the tapping helped you make another connection, and
Yes,
that got you deeper into your feelings. So great. And Radiance, with the tapping can often kind of lead us to some other parts that need to be healed. And so you may take some time going over specific events and specific experiences that you had. But for now, what I'd like to do is take this, we're going to move to the next letter in the acronym, and I think that it's kind of going to fit your process too. So if you recall, we just did speaking your truth and staying connected. We tapped on that and we anchored it into the body. And now we're going to look at the second letter, which is trusting yourself.
Okay.
Trusting yourself, right? So I'm going to ask you this question. So what keeps you from trusting yourself, from doing this? And so again, just taking a pause, and everybody else, who's listening to this, just taking a moment to reflect on what it means to trust yourself. And there actually is a branch of self-trust on the tree of self-love. So we're identifying that now. And this branch may be strong for you, or it may not be weak. And basically, we're kind of talking, we've got, these two forces inside of us. We've got our the critic, or the inner mean girl, or the bully that's inside of us, but we also have our inner wisdom and our intuition. And it's always there, even when we're a little girl. So the question is, what keeps you from listening to the intuition, from your inner wisdom, from trusting yourself?
Well, I do trust my wisdom and intuition. I have a really highly developed psychic intuition about myself and others. So that doesn't seem to be the issue. But what came up while you were talking about trusting myself, it was more, for example, I've had an issue with weight all my life. I keep trying every diet under the sun, and it works for a while, and it stops working. So the trust issue for me is around failure in the past to accomplish my goals. So there's a little bit of lack of trust in that area. Not trusting my intuition. I really trust my intuition. I always have to remember to act on it. That's a different story. So it's a different aspect of trust. You're not trusting yourself completely to accomplish your goals because you failed in the past so many times. And this in particular is around weight loss for me. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's really clear. So what I'm hearing is that you feel like your branch of self-trust is pretty strong in relationship to listening to your intuition, but where it's not as strong is specifically around not achieving the goals that you've set out for weight loss, and that you kind of failed it. So it leaves a certain level of lack of trust. Haven't been able to do it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So would you like to tap on that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So we're just going to do a couple rounds of that, and then we'll move on to the rest of the acronyms. We're just basically going to be, just touching on to these, and the kind of the idea behind the focus that we're doing is just to really see which area really needs the most focus. And so, whether it's speaking your truth and staying connected, trusting yourself, and then we'll go on to the other aspects, but we're just kind of identifying what needs the most focus for you. So, even though I lack some self-trust.
Even though I lack some self-trust.
Around achieving my goals.
Around achieving my goals.
And I've had some failure.
I've had some failure.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
So even though I am lacking some self-trust.
Even though I'm lacking in some self-trust.
Around achieving my goals.
Around achieving my goals.
In my weight loss.
In my weight loss.
I love and accept all that's coming up right now.
I love and accept all that's coming up right now.
So even though this branch of self-trust.
Even though this branch of self-trust.
Is strong in my intuition.
Is strong in my intuition.
I still need to grow.
I still need to grow.
It in relationship to weight loss.
In relationship to weight loss.
Okay, and now tapping through the points. My intuition is strong.
My intuition is strong.
I can tap into my inner wisdom.
I can tap into my inner wisdom.
I listen to my intuition a lot.
I listen to my intuition a lot.
The issue for me
The issue for me
is following through,
is following through,
is taking action
is taking action
on my goals.
on my goals.
And even though I've failed in the past,
And even though I failed in the past,
it's a new time.
it's a new time.
I forgive myself for failing.
I forgive myself for failing.
I forgive myself for not taking action.
I forgive myself for not taking action.
I forgive myself for not achieving my goals.
I forgive myself for not achieving my goals.
Whatever's in my way,
Whatever's in my way,
how I'm not trusting myself,
I'm not trusting myself.
the failure,
The failure,
not taking action,
not taking action,
not following through.
not following through.
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that I can stay strong in self-love,
I can stay strong in self-love,
that I can take action
when I can take action
on my goals.
on my goals.
I'm open to reminding myself
I'm open to reminding myself
that I can listen to my inner wisdom,
I can listen to my inner wisdom,
that I can turn the volume up
turn the body lock
on what she has to say to me.
and what she has to say to me.
And what I'm really needing to do
And what I really need to do
is take baby steps,
is to take baby steps,
is to take action
to take action
on my goals.
on my goals.
And as I take action,
And as I take action,
I can strengthen
I can strengthen
my own self-trust.
my own self-trust and discipline.
I can do this.
I can do that.
I can take baby steps.
I can take baby steps.
I can take action
I can take action
and start trusting myself
and start trusting myself
more and more.
more and more.
And when I don't,
And when I don't,
I can use tapping
I can use tapping and forgiveness
to forgive myself.
to forgive myself.
I forgive myself now
I forgive myself now.
because I'm the only self I have.
And I'm the only self I have, and I better love and forgive myself now.
And I'm doing the best I can.
I'm doing the best I can.
Okay, so just taking a pause. Okay, and again, we're just looking for, are you feeling more balanced? Are you more on the does that make you feel positive? What are you noticing?
Yeah, I'm just feeling lighter and a little bit more playful, not so serious about everything.
That's great. So let's move on to the R. The R is resting and replenishing yourself.
Okay.
So this is what related to the branch of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just want to tune into that on how strong this branch is, your branch of self-care, and how you have been or have not resting and replenishing. And of course it changes day to day and week by week and depends what's up in your life. So just kind of assessing it, noticing it. And the question again is what keeps you from doing this, from taking care of yourself or resting and replenishing it? So we just want to identify what might be in the way of activating this self-care. So just take a moment to pause to reflect on your self-care, your rest, and replenishing, and notice where you're at.
I will stay tuned in moment to moment, 24/7 about what it is I'm needing in the moment, and I will cancel appointments and schedules and plans because I am feeling tired or I feel like I need to rest in the moment. So I think I got this one nailed down.
Okay, so you're saying for yourself, you're very able to make choices, that it's a high priority for you. You know how to say no when you need to say no, or to cancel things, is what I'm hearing you say, that you feel like it's pretty active for you. So let's, even though it's active for you, would you be willing to just tap along with me for those that it's not? Because there's a lot of women out there, a lot of mothers who really suffer from focusing on others and not being able to rest and replenish themselves, and it can be really depleting. So let's just tap for them, and I've kind of identified what keeps me from taking care of myself or replenishing myself. I would say it's my doing addict, the part of me that just, wants to get things done. It's also a part of me that's a perfectionist. I just, I want to get things right. And I'd pretty much say that it's my head that controls me, and not my body when I'm in that. So let's just tap on that. So even though I may be guilty of not taking care of myself,
Even though I might be guilty for not taking care of myself,
my doing addict and perfectionist gets in the way.
my doing addict and perfectionist gets in the way.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
So even though I may not be resting and replenishing myself enough,
Even though I may not be resting or replenishing myself enough,
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
So even though this branch might not be as strong as I'd like it to be,
Even though this branch may be not as strong as I would like it to be,
I'm open to giving it some attention and focus.
I'm open to giving it some attention and focus.
Doing
Doing, doing, doing.
keeps me from resting.
Keeps me from resting.
Being a perfectionist,
Being a perfectionist.
trying to get things done,
Trying to get things done.
trying to do things right,
Trying to do things right.
keeps me in my head and out of my body.
Keeps me in my head and out of my body.
This old pattern
This old pattern
of taking care of others before me.
of taking care of others before me.
I become the martyr,
I become the martyr.
just like my mom.
It's like my mom.
I don't want to do that anymore.
I don't want to do that anymore.
I want to change that programming.
I want to change that program.
I'd like to fill up my tank first
I fill up my tank first.
so that it's overflowing
That's overflowing.
and I can give from a full tank.
I can give from a full tank.
And so even though I don't rest and replenish myself
don't rest and replenish myself
as much as I need to.
as much as I need.
I'm open to changing this pattern because this is a part of self-love.
This is a part of self-love.
And I want to stay strong in self-love.
And I want to stay strong.
I deserve to rest.
I deserve to rest.
I deserve to replenish myself.
I deserve to.
I deserve this self-care.
I deserve self.
Nobody can do this for me.
Nobody can do this for me.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside job.
I'm making the choice now.
I'm making a choice now.
to rest and replenish.
Rest and replenish.
And grow my self-care branch.
And grow my self-care branch.
Okay, so just taking a pause and letting that in.
I'm going to take care of myself and get some water.
Okay, perfect. I'll add some water to mine. And we're going to be moving on to the next letter in our acronym of staying strong, which is to own your power and to play your part. So you can just kind of tune into to this aspect. This is kind of related to the branch of self-empowerment. So again, the O in the strong is owning your power and playing your part. So just taking a moment and tuning into that again, you know, noticing where you are empowered, but then also maybe noticing where perhaps you feel like a victim in certain aspects of your life. So just asking yourself, what keeps you from owning your power and playing your part? And some of the things that I wrote that keep me from owning my power and playing my part is sometimes I don't know what my part is, or I get confused, or I'm looking at the outside at others, or I'm kind of lacking in self-esteem, or I may be comparing myself to others. So those are some of the things that keep me from owning my power. What about you, Radiance? What would you say?
What came up for me was in moments where I need to step up to the plate in different situations, there are times when a subconscious of unworthiness, low self-esteem, inadequacy to fulfill the job or the position or whatever is needed in the moment comes up. You know, just more so lately, I used to be very gung-ho most of the time, and you know, able to step up to the plate even more. But I know it's because of the health challenges I've had in the past. I've toned down a little bit. So it's about and having the energy. That's another thing. Having the energy to fulfill something that needs to be done in the moment. So those are the three issues for me that come up: unworthiness, inadequacy, and adequate energy to fulfill the job or request or whatever.
Okay. All right. So let's tap on that. And
Okay.
all right. So even though I can feel inadequate
Even though I can feel inadequate
or not worthy,
or not worthy
or maybe just not have enough energy,
or just not have enough energy,
I really want to own my part,
I really want to own my part,
play my part,
play my part,
and do the best that I can.
do the best that I can.
So even though I can stop myself,
Even though I can stop myself,
maybe I feel like a victim.
maybe I feel like a victim.
These voices come up in my head.
These voices come up in my head and I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough energy.
Enough energy.
And it's hard to step up to the plate.
It's hard to step up to the plate.
I'm just telling the truth about this.
I'm just telling the truth about this.
Because I'd really like to play my part.
But I really like to play my part.
And to give my gifts.
And to give my gifts.
Sometimes I just don't have enough energy.
Sometimes I just don't have enough energy.
Sometimes I don't feel good about myself.
Sometimes I don't feel good about myself.
I don't feel worthy.
I don't feel worthy.
Maybe I'm looking on the outside,
Maybe I'm looking on the outside,
comparing myself to others,
comparing myself to others,
or comparing myself to an earlier time in life
or comparing myself to an earlier time in life
when I had more confidence,
when I had more confidence and
when I had more energy,
had more energy.
and my body was more able.
My body was more able.
But the truth is,
But the truth is,
I'm here now,
I'm here now.
and there's a part for me to play.
And there's a part for me to play.
And I'm worthy
And I'm worthy
of giving my attention
of giving my attention
and standing up for myself.
and standing up for myself.
All that's coming up for me,
All this coming up for me,
the lack of confidence
lack of confidence
in these situations,
in these situations,
what I'm really wanting
what I'm really wanting
is to be me,
is to be me,
is to show up with my strengths,
is to show up with my strength,
is to give what I can give,
to give what I can give,
and to be honest to myself
be honest with myself
about what I can't do.
about what I can't do.
So what it's really about
What it's really about
is having clear yeses and nos.
is having clear yeses and nos.
And this branch of self-empowerment,
This branch of self-empowerment
it's been strong in the past,
is strong in the past,
and it can be strong again.
and it can be strong again.
I'm choosing to acknowledge me.
Didn't hear you.
I'm choosing to acknowledge me,
I'm choosing to acknowledge me,
to appreciate where I've come from
appreciate where I've come from,
and what I can do.
and what I can do.
Okay. So just taking a pause. All right, we're gonna move on to the last two. The next one is N, nourishing your heart and soul's desires.
Mm.
So this is kind of related to the branch of self-pleasure, I would say. So you can just kind of tune into your own heart and soul's desires. And what we're asking here is again, what keeps you from nourishing your heart and soul's desire, or what keeps you from nourishing this branch of self-pleasure?
I'd say lack of worthiness and confidence that I deserve, and deservability. I deserve to have my heart's desires and soul desires met.
Okay, so maybe some limiting beliefs around it and kind of these old programs of lack of worthiness and confidence around it. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And you remember, so for you, it sounds like we've been talking, the worthiness issues come up in the last two. And one way to think about that is to think about the self-love tree. And if you remember, on the tree, self-love, the worthiness has to do with the trunk and where the roots are going. So I just want to acknowledge that sometimes we lack a sense of self-worth because our roots have kind of gotten a little bit tangled, or maybe they've been redirected into thinking that our worthiness depends on what others think of us, on their approval. You know, maybe we develop this kind of looking for our parents for approval or looking into relationships. And yet, when you think about a baby, or you think about, you know, the preciousness of life, really, our worth is really just like intrinsic. Yeah. So, so we're just going to identify that there's some old beliefs in there, that kind of some writing on your walls, that the graffiti inside of you that might need to be changed to help you to nourish your heart and soul's desires, right?
Yes.
Okay. So even though I've got some old programming, some graffiti on my walls,
the graffiti on my walls,
that's not serving me.
It's not serving me.
Around my worthiness.
Around my worthiness.
And confidence.
And confidence.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
So even though I want to nourish my heart desires.
Even though I want to nourish my heart's desires.
And I have these limiting beliefs.
I have these limiting beliefs.
That are in my way.
That are in my way.
That are stopping me.
That are stopping me.
I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility.
That I can shift this.
I can shift this.
That I can redirect my roots.
I can redirect my roots.
Into the ground.
Into the ground.
Into infinite possibility.
Into infinite possibility.
Into the love that's here.
Into the love that's here.
And tapping through the points, this old programming.
This old programming.
My roots being connected to others.
My roots being connected to others.
This lack of worthiness.
This lack of worthiness.
This lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence.
I'm acknowledging it.
I'm acknowledging it.
I'm clearing the old programming.
I'm clearing the old programming.
I'm cleaning these limiting beliefs.
I'm clearing and cleaning these limiting beliefs.
That aren't serving me anymore.
That aren't serving me anymore.
Because the truth is.
Because the truth is.
I am worthy of love.
I am worthy of love.
I deserve to nourish my heart and soul's desires.
I deserve to nurture my soul and heart's desires.
Sending love to me now.
Sending love to me now.
Redirecting my roots.
Redirecting my roots.
Into the earth.
Into the earth.
To Mother Earth.
To Mother Earth. To Mother Earth.
I can do this.
I can do this. I can do this.
I deserve this.
I deserve.
I deserve to nourish my heart and soul's desires.
I deserve to nurture my soul and heart's desires.
Okay. And just take a pause and let that into your body. Okay.
That felt very deep.
Yeah. Great. And we're just going to touch on the last one of S.T.R.O.N.G. So the last one is giving and receiving. So this, I really like to think of infinity sign, that we need both giving and receiving to be whole and to be full and complete in self-love. And if we're over giving, then it impacts our ability to receive. If we're over receiving, it impacts our ability to give. So just tuning into your flow of giving and receiving and noticing what gets in your way from either giving or receiving. And it's also connected to the trunk of self-worth, I think. Do you notice that?
Yeah, well, what's coming up for me, I'm pretty good about giving, and I noticed that when I receive, there's a little bit of a block on my part about fully receiving and being able to totally trust that what the person is giving to me is real.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay, so you're giving and receiving. You're noticing that's a little bit connected to the trust, that there's some trust, that maybe some kind of belief or something that keeps you from fully receiving, that there's some distrust there.
there's some kind of mistrust or disconnect or something. I'm keeping myself safe by not
Right.
because in the past, when I've actually received something, in the case of going back to my childhood, I couldn't trust my mother to what she was giving me. So I had to protect myself.
Hmm.
Because the child didn't feel safe because my mother was, uh, she could be physically violent. There was
Yeah.
a distrust there.
Right. So it might make sense from your past, from your little girl's perspective, that you had to put up some protection around receiving, because what you received as a little girl wasn't pure love. It wasn't.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's take a little of tapping. So even though
Even though
I'm out of balance in my giving and receiving,
I'm out of balance in my giving and receiving,
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
And even though I couldn't trust as a little girl
Even though I couldn't trust as a little girl
that what I was receiving was pure,
that what I was receiving was pure,
I'm sending healing to my little girl.
I'm sending healing to my little girl.
And even though it's been difficult for me to receive,
And even though it's been difficult for me to receive,
because I've been distrusting,
because I've been distrusting,
and my little girl needs protection,
and I need protection,
I'm sending healing
I'm sending healing
to this part of me.
to this part of me.
Because what I'm really needing
Because what I'm really needing
is a balance
is balance
between giving and receiving.
in giving and receiving.
On the inside of the eyes, I've been out of balance.
I've been out of balance.
It's been easy for me to give,
It's easy for me to give,
but it's been hard for me to receive.
hard for me to receive.
I learned this from my mom.
I learned this from my mom.
She was a bad model.
She was a bad model.
It's impacted me.
It's impacted me.
I'm open to changing this programming.
I'm open to changing this program.
I'm open to receiving,
I'm open to receiving.
because what I'm really wanting
If I really want to
is to be in the flow.
be in the flow,
Is for my little girl
that's for my little girl.
to receive the love that she deserves.
Receive the love she deserves.
So right now,
So right now,
I'm tapping into the love
I'm tapping into the love
that's here for her now.
that's here for her now.
I'm giving myself permission
I'm giving myself permission
to receive.
to receive.
I can receive.
I can receive.
I deserve to receive.
I deserve to receive.
I'm changing my programming.
Changing my programming.
I can do this.
I can do this.
All right. So just taking a pause and a couple deep breaths.
Well, it feels like I've been through the EFT ringer. I wanted an EFT session. It went really deep to some new realizations, and so now I'm just hoping that I realize it, and the EFT is just going to like cleanse it out and release it.
Yeah.
It's really old and it doesn't belong there anymore.
No, and now you can make some new choices. I know, you've done some deep work. I'm going to encourage you just to go into the hookup, crossing one ankle over the other right now. So your ankles are crossed, and just bring your hands out in front of you. And this is a good way to kind of balance giving and receiving too. Put your hands out and clasp your hands and bring it into your chest. Yeah, I just want you to take a moment to kind of just feel and just absorb all the tapping that you've just done, just allowing the energy to move through you. Just being thankful, grateful right now for the time you've taken to stay strong in self-love. So I'm just going to take a moment for you to pause and just receive the energy that's flowing through you. Taking a couple deep breaths. And then you can open up your eyes and go to the second part of this with your eyes open, just staring down gently at your fingertips. This helps you to just feel focused and grounded. Yeah, so I just want to encourage you to be gentle with yourself, and to remind you and to remind the participants who are watching this at another time to stay strong in self-love. And again, you can choose which one of these letters that you would like to really focus on, whether it's speaking your truth and staying connected, trusting yourself, resting and replenishing, owning your power and playing your part, nourishing your heart and soul's desire, and giving and receiving. And so it's a nice focus to choose one of them to focus on, after now we've gone through all of them, and you can see which one's most alive for you. And then you can, really focus in on one of them and give yourself some good attention. So I want to remind you that to go to Christina Rilo's new website called thepathofselflove.com, and there's also a self-love quiz that you can take there. So I invite you to go there, and then also you can check out my tapping videos at findthestarwithin.com. So I thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Radiance. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Sending you off with much aloha.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.